Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's Karen Ouha with the Art Boss Formula. We are getting set up here and I am super excited to be talking about the origin story. So my name is Karen Ouha. I'm with the Art Boss Formula and I am coming in today to share the secret behind the origin story. Why is the origin story important and how will it connect you to your audience so that you can sell more work online? So again, it is noon on Friday. It is April 24th and I am working from home. The kids are home, the husband is home, and I have let everyone know that I'm doing a Facebook Live. Oh, there we go. I need the first thing. There we go. I let everyone know that we're doing the Facebook Live, although we may have a few interruptions or you'll hear people tromping up the steps to go get lunch. So, hey, if you are having lunch today and you're in the middle of lunch, please continue to have lunch. And I want to let you know that I am going to be taking comments and questions. I can see the list of questions that are over here on my left-hand side. So first of all, I want to ask the question, who is a superhero fan? Who loves movies about superheroes? Hey, if you're watching, go ahead, drop me some fire bolts because I'm a huge Thor fan, right? Or drop me some of your symbols that are like represent your favorite superhero. So I am going to be using my notes today. So if I'm looking over here, it's just to really kind of take a look at my notes because I want to just let you know that I am a super huge like movie person. Now, I'm not like one of those people who can quote all these lines and tell you all of the intricate information about the movies, but I don't know about you, but with an artist, there are times where I can paint and I can actually be listening to music or maybe even watching a movie. So superhero movies are one of my big favorites. So tell me, who is your favorite superhero? Does anyone have a favorite superhero that they want to share with the group? Is there someone that you enjoy watching because you connect with that superhero? For me, it's Wonder Woman. I love her. And when people go, why do you love her so much? I mean, honestly, she's just a badass, right? She just she doesn't let anything get in her way. Like in her origin story, she was the first one to jump up on the battlefield and just, plow her way across no man's zone, right? Or the dead man's zone. So she is like one of my super favorites. So if you have any other like superheroes that you want to drop in the comments, tell me who your superhero is because I can use them as examples when we're going through and we're starting to break up why it is so important to understand our own origin story so that we can connect with our clients and then we can sell more work online. So does that sound good to you guys? Does that sound good? Does that, you give me 15 minutes and we're going to walk through the overview of the origin story and we're going to use our favorite superheroes to kind of do that. And then we're going to take that format, we're going to apply it to our own businesses. So if you stay with me for 15 minutes, you're going to walk away with engaging Facebook posts that allow you to connect to your audience and sell more work. So I was reading up on the whole origin story about the superheroes, and according to Entertainment Weekly, I thought this quote was really important, and it kind of touches on what we're doing. When tales of how a superhero begin his or her mission for good is told the right way, these stories are the stuff of legend. So we're really looking at the superhero origin story model, and then we're going to use that in our own businesses. So does this sound good? Let's just go ahead and get started. Sound good? Okay. All right, good. Hey, some people totally agree with this and this feels really fun to do. And then some people they're kind of I don't feel comfortable with that, but I'm going to tell you right now, you have superpowers. All right. You are a superhero. And right now, I'll tell you that just being a creative person and an artist is one of your superpowers, right? So some superheroes have tons, they have a lot of superpowers, like Superman. He's got a lot of them. He can fly, he can see through buildings, he's strong. And then we have others that are just like they just have one superpower, but they're big and important superpowers. I mean, the first one I can think of is in like the Disney Incredibles. You have Dash, and he's just super fast, right? But that's all he does. But he is super fast, and he's super good at what he does. So you are a superhero and you have superpowers. So let's break down the origin story of superheroes, right? And we're going to take these components and then we're going to apply them to ourselves. So let's look first. What is the first component of a origin story? Well, we need to know about the superhero and what makes them a superhero. What is their superpower? So again, I love Wonder Woman. And that's just, again, I told you earlier, I love her because she's a badass, right? So that is a superpower, but we kind of have to look deeper. We kind of have to dig deeper and go, what is truly her superpowers? Well, they actually come down to she's brave. She doesn't let anything get in her way. Her moral compass is correct. She's super strong, and she is just like super smart, right? I mean, like my favorite. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Wonder Woman later because she also has tools to help her, right? So let's think about that. Identify who is your superhero, because this is really going to help you when you do this exercise. All right, so when you think about your superhero, were they born a superhero, or was there some sort of catalyst in their life that changed them and they became a superhero? I'm going to use two examples. Number one, Wonder Woman was born with all of her powers. But the second one, and I'll say he's a superhero, but maybe an anti-superhero. So Deadpool, right? Deadpool is one of those characters that he had to make a choice in his life due to what was going on in his life to become a superhero. And he struggles with it all the time, right? His moral compass is like all over the place, but he made a choice. He made a choice to become a superhero, and not every single superhero has that choice. So I think that's something really unique to think about when you're telling your own origin story. Were you born with it, or was it a choice that you made? Now, even this point number 3, even if your superhero was born with their powers, they still had to spend years of training, learning how to embrace their powers, learning how to use them so they wouldn't hurt other people. Wonder Woman, again, is a really good example of that. You see her years and years of hardcore training, and she's learning from the people around her, including her aunt and her mother, and so it's not like she's just born with it and then she can use them. She still has to develop them. So again, here are some of the elements of our origin story that people want to know about us, right? So point number 4, there's always a nemesis, right? Always that person who is pushing them towards good, right? Now, for us, our nemesis might not be a person. It might be, who knows? It may be a life event. It may be a challenge in your life. So I want you to think through what your nemesis might be, right? So it's that kind of negative thing that was placed in your life that pushed you towards your good and pushed you towards your purpose for what you do when you're creating. So again, think through kind of that. Number 5, there was always a time where they considered stop being a superhero. And I think we need to look into our lives. We may have had a time in our life where we were forced to stop creating, or we decided to give up, or we weren't sure the direction we were going. So again, that was a super important part of our origin story. And then number 6, there's always a secret. There's always a secret, right? Every superhero has a secret. Superman, it was, what was the thing that could kill him, right? For Wonder Woman, who was she the daughter of, right? I mean, it just goes on and on. Everybody has a secret that they really don't want people to know, but only their close friends know, right? And the whole audience, we all know too. So it's, it's a secret, but it's not a secret. It's like, oops, I told you my secret. So these are the 6 elements that we can pull from, and we can analyze who we like as our own superheroes, and we can pull this apart. So don't worry if you didn't get all those written down and you didn't copy all those. I actually uploaded a sheet. I'm sorry, I can't share screen on a Facebook Live and then get back to you. Working on a few other platforms that allow me to do that in future Facebook Lives, but I'm just not there yet. So kind of researching them. But anyway, so this is like you can download this, right? And this is just a worksheet. The top part talks about the origin story and all those 6 components we just talked about, right? There's actually, I broke it out to 7 here, but we talked about all of them. And then we've got the actionable grid on here. And again, this, all right, it's backwards, and I just want you to know it's in here. We are now going to make an action plan, right? How do we identify our key elements in our origin story? And then how do we start to share our origin story with our audience? Here's what I promise you. When you start connecting with your audience, you are going to build trust and a rapport that is going to lead to sales. And that's just how it works. We're kind of emulating in the online space the same thing that happens when someone comes into our studio or when we meet them at a art show. You know, we shake their hands at art show. They come into our studio. We start sharing our story. They start kind of going through our artwork, and we tell them the stories behind the artwork, and it leads to maybe telling a personal story about why we painted it, right? So we're creating that same event and that same like thing to happen online, right? So here's where you're going to walk away with an action plan. All right. So this is a grid. It's a 4x4 grid. And I'm going to, again, sorry, I can't share this on my screen. I'm going to walk you through it. So on the top of the grid, I want you to write like 3 to 4 of your key elements. I have written on across the top. It says superpower right here. It says superpower. And then it says, like, what was my my pain point or my pain for change, right? So it's like that point in my life where I realized I needed to make a change. And, you know, so I'm calling it my pain point, and then my secret, right? So there's also in more spaces. You can make this grid bigger for your own uses. So don't just, you know, keep it a 4-point grid. You can make it way bigger than this. But here's the part that's really interesting. So on the axis, on the vertical axis, here are the type of posts that you're going to be creating. So the type of posts you're going to be creating are the how-to post, the give post, the give and ask post, and the ask post, right? So I'm going to kind of walk you through what that means. And so hopefully you can pull up, if you're watching me on this live, you can just pull up another screen and click on that document and you'll have this, okay? So, you know, I'm going to say, what's your superpower? It's the most important thing to post about, right? I'm a visual artist. I create paintings. I work with acrylic. And, you know, some of the topics I paint are flowers, floral abstracts, abstract paintings. I do pet portraits. So in that first box that you have of my superpower and my how-to, I wrote an example down. Like if you have a superpower that you're really good at creating washes, or you're really good at doing pet portraits, or you're really good, that's one of your ideas for your post. And this box, I have one example in here. You should have a plethora. You should have tons of them in there. This is probably the easiest box to create. And when you're posting, you can simply post just as simple as the image of the painting, or you can do a how to do a wash, right? How to paint the eyes of a dog, you know, whatever you want to do, that's what that is. In your give post, I looked at my pain points and I'm like, are you bored with COVID? Right? So I'm giving a post. Are you bored with COVID? Come along. I have a free art class where I'm teaching how to do a rose flower. And then in the give and ask post, this is really, you're talking about, you're going to give something, but you're asking for that person to take action as well. The action can be small or large. So here's what it is. I always loved flowers. What's your favorite kind of flower? I'm going to paint a new flower. So it's that give and ask post. You want interaction and you want people to tell you something and engage. And then the final one is just the ask post, right? So again, I went into my pain point and I said, I help emerging artists get started learning about the online market. Would you be interested in being one of my Patreon supporters so that I can create scholarships, right? So it's my pain point because it's something I'm going to be telling and sharing with people over my drip, right? That's what I enjoy doing. So I'm really want you to do this homework. I think that even if you just spend 15 minutes, even 5 minutes doing this, you will come up with content that will help you instead of sitting down at Facebook and going, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to do. You've got like, go here. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how important it is to deliver this content, right? You can go to Facebook and you can deliver this content as a full on load, tell everybody your whole story. And it's really great. And when you're going to be doing interviews, when you have an audience that's already engaged. Sometimes it may not even be in Facebook. It might be you're going to a meeting and you have a presentation to give. So it could be telling people about your origin story in a way that fits with the content and context of your meeting. Excuse me. All right. I recommend in Facebook to do the drip method. So that's why we created that grid, and you're going to be dripping your information. And the more that you're giving people, you're going to be tying it together later on. And not everybody's going to know the whole entire story, but they're always going to be interested in hearing more about it because you're dripping the content and you're giving them little teaser points. And it's all about that engaging and warming up your audience, right? So think about it. Do you want to drip or do you want a full interview? And again, there's no right or wrong answer there, but the way you do it might be a little bit different. I wouldn't recommend first time you do any sort of Facebook Live in your group to just do a full, this is me and this is my superhero story. I mean, you need to kind of really get people warmed up before you tell them the superhero full story. So take time to figure this out and fill this out because I'm going to give you guys homework on top of this. I'm going to set a mission for you. And if you choose to accept it, you will benefit from it. So if you're brand new and you don't have a Facebook page, I want you, number one, to Google how to set up a business page. Obviously you have a personal page if you're here, but if you don't have a business page, you need to start posting this on your business page. So number one part for you guys is you just need to get your business page up and running. And if you have a business page, we'll talk about the difference between pages and groups, but that's for another session. But right now, just get your page because you need your page in order to create your group. All right. So if this is new to you, we'll talk about it more later. Don't worry. I'll have more information about that. So once you do that, you set up a page, just post a painting. Just post a painting. It's in that, and maybe talk a little bit about how you did it, what influenced you, what was on your mind. Not just the picture, but give a little bit of the story, which is part of your superhero story. And hey, if you are already up and running on Facebook and you have a group, then here's what I want you to do. I want you to post a little piece of your origin story, maybe your pain point or a little bit about your secret. Again, and I want you to do at least a give ask post where you're going to give something and then you're going to ask that person who is viewing your stuff to give you feedback on it, to at least maybe drop some firebolts, right? Do something like that. So I want you guys to do this because here's why. I believe that when we warm up our audiences, it is a key component to selling more work online. We have to create that trust and that rapport with our clients before they'll ever purchase from us, especially if they don't know us and they've never met us before. Because what we're doing is we're creating an audience of people who are no longer just our friends and our family and the people who live in our city. We're starting to build a rapport with people who've never met us. So I'm going to be here every single Friday, and I'm going to be doing an Art Boss little live session. I'm calling it my live show. And we're going to be talking about things like this. When you have questions, drop them over here into the comment section, whether you want to do that now or you're watching this in replay. That really helps me to have an idea of what you guys want to know about for the in the online market and how to get up and running in that online market, how to use other social media. I mean, anything that you have, just let me know, because that's what I'm going to be using. It really helps me pick content. So also, look for the Art Boss Formula Bootcamp. It is coming in June. I'm working on dates and getting everything together, and we are going to be talking about the overall picture. We're going to be talking about how to go from no income or low income all the way up to making a living wage by using the online art market in order to do that. So what if there's a better way? What if, as artists, the whole online market seems too overwhelming and too hard to figure out, so we just say forget it? What if all of the online selling on online just simply comes down to math? And so I'm going to be sharing that free boot camp in June, and stay here, and I'll be talking about it more in all of my live shows. So I'm super excited to get started. You guys have a great weekend, and remember, you have a superpower. You are a superhero. So let's tap into those origin stories and start sharing. I will see you guys later, and have a great weekend. Later.